which looks like this, we can ensure that the story flow that the customer or the audience have will be from strength to weaknesses to opportunities and to threats. A human eye usually moves from the left down diagonally, okay, down towards the page. So we will left, diagonal down, and flow in this motion. This is how our eye usually move, because this is how our eye are programmed when we read story. Now, storybooks we will read this way, right? So this is how our eye programs. So this is how we should put our visualization as well. So if you want your stakeholders to understand a certain flow of events, a certain flow of time and place that you want to showcase to them, picture it and put it and lay out in a way that is understandable. Yes, so Vicky says Z pattern. That's very true. So this is how we should put it across. Next, if you look at things like comparison, TV streaming provider. So this is a very fabulous visualization here. We have, for example, 3 other competitors. We have DAM1, DAM2, DAM3. These are 3 different competitors that we are comparing against our own services. So if we put it across this way, it is very easy to understand. It's very good. It's very nicely put across, nice color, nice positioning. But if we were to put it across in this manner, it will show a better comparison. Again, what we are trying to show over here, comparison. So visualization is not just about having charts or graph. This itself, it is a form of visualization. I don't have graph, I don't have charts. I simply have numbers, but it is a comparison between us, okay, and other streaming providers over here. So this is how we can position our data differently so that we can show what we are trying to show over here. Okay, so now another type of plots that we can have will be rags to riches. We need to be able to show to our stakeholders that growth we are able to achieve and show the client why we deserve the contract. So usually the graph have to be in this format where it starts small and goes big. It starts small and goes big. This is what we call rags to riches. If you want to portray it the other way around, which is riches to rags, right? Then it will be big to small. Okay, when it's riches to rags, then that will be big to small, and then we have to follow up with more visualization on what we think may be the cause of the reducing revenue. Okay, so one very good example over here I can share with you is we all know Pampers, right? Pampers or diapers. So P&G introduced Pampers in the 1960s. Okay, before that, people were using alternative. They were using cloth and other methods or other products as a substitute for Pampers. So when P&G introduced Pampers, they were the only company that manufactures diapers or Pampers in this case. And through the next 20 years, 1960 all the way to 1980, they were the market dominant manufacturer for diapers. Okay, and their graph actually looks this way. It's going upwards. And then every single year, the graph will be increasing and increasing, and they don't see any issues with it. Okay, until end of 1980s, where they realized, hey, how come our revenue is not increasing when our production has always been increasing over the years? So they always thought that by manufacturing more diapers, this will have a direct correlation with the amount of revenue that they generate. Okay, but they failed to realize that throughout these 20 years, there are new competitions that's coming into the market. And without while just showing these rags to riches, they may not be able to identify what are the threats out there. And by adding a simple visualization and a simple variable, they are able to identify now it's not about the more I manufacture, the more revenue I will increase, because the market has already hit its peak and the market has already matured. And there are a lot more competitors out there. What they need to do is they need to innovate and they need to transform the Pampers product that they have, maybe introduce pull-ups, introduce more sophisticated products to different markets as well. And that's how they change, and they introduce a lot more different brands, a lot more different products to fight the market and to increase their revenue. Okay, so one other example that I have over here is pertaining to the music industry. So this chart over here is a very old chart over here. So as you can, if you can't read it, I apologize, but you can actually find this chart in Business Times. I think this chart is from Business Times. But to give you a background of this visualization over here, it is basically published by Sony Music, right? So when they were trying to showcase to their stakeholders that they should put their money not on producing musics of a different genre or the same genre, but put their money into the consumption of the music rather than go introduce more type of music into the industry. Okay, so what this shows over here at the top, where we have this smaller chart here, it shows you the different types of, or the popularity of the different genre of music. Okay, so what can we tell from this chart over here? On the chat, let me know. What can we tell from this chart over here? So these different colors are the different genre, like for example, R&B, classical, pop music, rap, jazz, etc. So these are the different genres. Okay, and the size of this is how popular they are. Okay, can anyone tell a story from this chart over here? So again, no right or wrong answer, just type in whatever you feel. Okay, we can learn from each other. So changing trends of genre. Okay, so Irfan, right? Irfan, what can you tell from the changing trends of the genre? What are you able to tell from the changing trends of the genre? Meaning, okay, green and orange is growing in listeners while red is shrinking. Okay. Red decreasing over time, though dominant. Okay. Anything else? Yes, okay. So the answer I'm looking for is from Viken. Viken says overall all genre trends is quite stable. Okay, for the longest time, the music industry. So mind you, this is like 1998, 1999 or 2000s, that kind of era. So they are still looking at things like CD, DVDs, cassette tapes, vinyl, and this kind of consumption products. Okay, so for the longest time, the music industry has always been looking at the genre space. They feel that I should introduce more music in the rock space because this is the dominant market. I should introduce more music in R&B or hip hop because it is increasing or it is expanding. Okay, but they fail to understand that the change or the disruption does not come from the genre of the music, but the type of consumption products that the music industry or the consumer actually prefer. So from vinyl, from cassette tapes, they are slowly transiting to CDs and DVDs and other form of consumption products. And this graph at the bottom shows exactly what is happening. Okay, and more, and this article itself, right, is actually telling a story of how Sony, instead of focusing on the artists, focusing on the music, they focus on the technology behind how the music is being consumed and introduce more CDs and DVDs through their collections and their albums. Okay, so yes, Anam says, is why there's music sharing software now such as Spotify to address this issue, consumer issue. Yes, that is why there is Spotify. And Spotify make use of this chart over here, this graph over here, to identify where are the opportunities. I don't want to fight in providing more rock music. I don't want to fight in providing more hip hop or R&B or K-pop, for example. But what I want to do is to provide the platform where the music are being consumed. Okay, if I were to just show you the top graph over here, you will have made decisions on providing or producing more rock music. But if I were to just show you the bottom graph over here, you'll feel that, oh, okay, so that's the change. So maybe we can produce more rock music with CD. That's what you may be thinking. But if I were to show you two graphs over here in one page, you'll realize that I don't have to put additional budget with the genre, but I can channel all this budget into exploring or researching on new consumption for consumer. And that's basically what this visualization is about. Again, you can show just one chart, one of each, or you can show both at the same time, but you have to tell a story from it in order for you or stakeholders to exactly understand what's happening. All right. So now, what's the point? We can ask this question. What's the point? Meaning, this is the question that you need to ask whenever you create a visualization. In order for you to have a very powerful visualization or a successful storytelling, right? Firstly, your visualization or your storytelling needs to have a sequence of related events. That's number one. It needs to be able to depict a time or a place. It has to have a character that is involved, and a surprise. What do you mean by surprise? Surprise means there must be something, an analysis or a hypothesis or a finding out of this visualization. It has to be a surprise. This is number 4 element. And the 5th element would be to link everything back to a business point. If you are able to fulfill all these 5, you will have a very, very powerful visualization on your hand. Okay, so summary, a story should start with a conclusion. Okay, what do you mean by story should start with a conclusion? If you notice, most of the Pixar movies or the Disney movies nowadays, they start with a conclusion. They pick your interest first, and then they move on to what happens that lead up, what happened in the story that leads up to your visualization or to reach up to this conclusion over here. So an example would be to show maybe the increase in sales. Okay, the increase in sales. So you already pick the interest of the stakeholders. Wow, there's an increase in sales. Or a decrease in sales. You pick their interest. Why is there a decrease in sales? Then you add on other story points to lead on to how this decrease occur or how this increase occur. So you start with a conclusion first, then you build up the story back to your conclusion. Okay, identify the themes using the types and build it accordingly. So what plot do you want? You want to show overcoming the monster, rags to riches, or even quest or voyage. What are you trying to show? Select the plot, build the visualization according to the plot. Again, like a broken record, visualize per story and not tell the story as per visual created. We don't start off with creating visuals, we start off with creating the story, then we put in the visual. Okay, and lastly, make it easy for both quick and consumption. What I mean by this, have a version that is an infographic type, meaning one look, one page, understand everything. Okay, and have a version that is very detailed. That if your stakeholders, after looking at the quick version, realize that I want to find out more. I need to find out more. Okay, here you go. I have a detailed version for you to consume as well. So have 2 different variables. Many of times we have either one. Most of the time we have the detailed version because we don't understand storytelling. We just create as many charts as possible without understanding what's the objective behind. Okay, but what you have learned today is we need to be concise, remove or reduce the number of charts needed, only show the charts that is pertaining or related or add value to your story. But instead of having all detailed versions, we also have a quick consumption version. So we have 2 different versions. This is a very good way for you to tackle your stakeholders. Very good tip as well. So in summary, these are the main points that we need to have. And next, we move on to telling the story. Okay, so earlier we have been talking about visuals, we have talking about plots. Okay, how do we add these 2 together? And I have a few case studies that we can look at today. We can look at this point of time. So firstly, first case study over here, I have this data that I'm showing you, a table of the top 12 metropolitan city and their growth rate from 2015 all the way projected to 2050 and the growth percentage as well. Okay, in the chat now, looking at this chart, what story can you tell? Okay, just type any story will do. You can tell me as simple as Tokyo, Japan has the lowest growth rate, or which country has the highest growth rate, or which batch of countries or how many countries are there, you know, what's the growth rate, what kind of story can you tell from this data over here? Okay, just type in the chat, let me know. Okay, anyone? Okay, it shows the growth rate of each country, major cities. Yes, okay, that's the story can we tell. Okay, so Anna, by telling the growth rate of each country's major city, what would you like to, what are you able to achieve from telling the growth rate of each country's major city? Okay, anyone has other type of story that you can derive from this data over here? Okay, India has 3 cities that have high growth of population. Yes, okay. Okay, meaning it will have growing demands across age group. Okay, interesting. Tokyo is the smallest growth. Okay, interesting. Population among the cities. Okay, interesting. So you look at this. How many of us responded? I think about good 5, 6 of us responded, right? So the 5, 6 of us that responded tells a different story. But by just showing this data here, everyone can depict or can tell a story differently. Okay, so it's the same thing as what we are doing now. If we don't realize, is we have been putting graph and charts, hoping that our audience understand what we are trying to tell them. Okay, so it's about data storytelling. So we are always focused on the data aspect, but we neglect the storytelling. So to put this better, if there are certain objectives that I want to bring across to my audience or my stakeholders, I can add the storytelling portion, which says the world is rapidly urbanizing. By 2050, top 12 metropolitan cities will add 51 million people. So if my objective is to show the flow of human from more rural areas to highly metropolitan cities, right? Then this is something that I would tell my stakeholders. If today I would want to tell my stakeholders to invest in India, okay, then I would use Williams or even Ari's, is it Ari's? Adriana's comment of India having the top 3 cities with the highest growth. Okay, if my objective is to let me just read. Depends on the sector that I'm presenting. So, for example, reducing rates. Okay, so if I'm trying to say that, hey, Tokyo has a reducing growth rates, and we should be concerned about aging population or more healthcare needed for the elderly, then I would focus on the data that Japan has. Okay, and tell my stakeholders that, hey, we should invest in Japan in elderly care. Then my storytelling over here will be different. Will not be the world is rapidly urbanizing. Okay, instead it will be Japan has a very slow growth rate in their population, which means they will have an aging population, and that will result in a lot of opportunities in healthcare for the elderly, and we could potentially invest in these countries in this area to build up infrastructures. Okay, objective, target audience, data, which is this table that you see over here, and storytelling that accompanies your data, and it adds up all to data storytelling. Okay, so next case study over here, I don't give you the data, I just tell you the story immediately. It says Q4 delivers excellent financial result, forecast suggests challenges ahead, revenue and profit exceeds target, economic indicators lag in 3 or 4 regions, mixed performance in IT initiative. Once again, by telling you just the story without the data, you will not be able to come to a conclusion. Revenue and profit exceeds target. How much is my revenue? How much is my profit? How much has it exceeded my target? Okay, so with the data that is accompanied, we can identify, or we can pinpoint the exact detail of what's happening. So again, visualization is about data storytelling, or data is not just about graph and charts. Look at it, I only have one chart over here, I have one line graph over here. The rest of the data are depicted by just numbers. How much revenue? I just need to know my revenue is 5% above target, my profit is 9% above target. This itself is a form of data. Okay, don't overcomplicate things. You don't have to create another graph, another chart just to show how much your revenue or profit exceeds the target. Okay, you can just put it in a visual format or in word format. This is just like this. Okay, one better example will be in the next slide, where this is what we call an infographic. No graph, no charts in these infographics. But I can tell you, these infographics can tell a lot more story than having 10, 20 slides of presentation of graph after graph. Again, it is the data depicts number of 10, 3,000 gallons, okay, 10 drops, 500 gallons, okay, 11 million homes, so 13,000 homes. So these are really data that is accompanied by the storytelling that tells a lot more story than slides after slides of presentation. All right, so these are opportunities, and again, a change of mindset that all of you should have. Don't focus on putting a presentation out there. Focus on delivering the story and focus on impacting a change. What we want to achieve when we do visualization is to impact a change. We don't want to just create graph and charts for the sake of creating graph and charts. We want to impact a change. We want to let my stakeholders know that there's a growth opportunity here. Let us invest money in this area. My team is doing a lot better than the other team. Put more marketing budget on our team. Okay, or this marketing activity is generating a lot more revenue. Let us focus our budget into this marketing activity rather than asking us to spend our time and effort into other activity that are not producing results. Okay, what impact we want to have, what kind of change we want to impact, and that's the last and the most crucial point of data storytelling. Okay, so with that, right, we're going to use a very simple case study here and a business problem that we're going to solve together. And this is where the hands-on begins, right? So later on, you will be following some of these steps that I'll be taking using Tableau. Okay, so for those of you who are very familiar with Tableau, do bear with me. So again, we do have a mixed crowd today. So just follow the steps and we will learn from each other as well. Okay. So regarding infographics, how much information should I fit in an infographic before it looks unprofessional? Okay, that's a very, very, very interesting question. Okay. As a rule of thumb, right, for any infographics or visuals, right, if you notice a lot of these high budget films or high budget kind of marketing collaterals, they don't have a lot of information in the infographics itself. Okay. What you can consume, okay, when you read through the infographics, what you can consume within 1 minute of reading, right, is essential already. Because most of the time, especially now with TikTok and a lot of this media that we are consuming, our attention span are narrowing now. Okay, we used to be able to watch a 1 hour movie or 1 hour video, but nowadays, if the YouTube video is more than 15 minutes, I think most of us will not click onto it. Okay, because we are very familiar with TikTok. We are very familiar with short videos or short contents that pique our interest. Okay, so regarding infographics, as long as you read the infographics and you can finish it within that 1 minute, okay, it will capture your audience attention. Okay, so now we look at this portion, which is to impact a change, right? Data analytics framework, structured consistency. So what is the data analytics framework? And I share with you, this is one of the most important slides in the entire webinar session. Firstly, okay, this is basically the framework that is used by many analytics professionals whenever they embark on an analytics project. Okay, so what needs to be done is to first understand the business you are in, understand your process well. Next is to understand the data that you're dealing with, or the data that you don't have or you have. Followed by preparing of the data sets, understanding what data variables are important, what are not important, and then followed by data modeling or data visualization. Lastly, to evaluate and to deploy. Okay, why is this important for us to understand? Because this helps us understand exactly where we are at this point of time, what are the skill sets that we need to learn in Okay, you are not good at anything. So how do you identify which stage are you at and how do you move from one stage to another stage? Remember, analytics tools, analytics methods are there to help you solve business problems, to help you understand. Okay, so if you do not have a basic understanding of your processes, your business, how would you be able to identify problems for analytics to solve in your organization? Okay, you can be an analyst for the past 15 years, very experienced. But if you were to change an industry, you change a company, you have to basically start from step one over here, which is to learn how the business function and how the business works before you are able to move on to the next few steps over here. So you will see these steps over and over again throughout the next few slides, because this will help you understand exactly where you are at this point of time and how can we move from one step to another step. It can also help you, okay, reflect and think about how this could apply to your current work or your current job, and how would this actually help you solve the problems that you're actually facing at this point of time. Okay, so framework over here, we have business understanding, data modeling, and subsequently followed by evaluation and deployment. So I've omitted data preparation here because it's not a session for me to show you how to prepare data, how to merge different tables together. That's for another session. But what we're going to do is to understand exactly what's the business problem we are going to solve, what's the data we're dealing with, how do we create visuals, and to evaluate and solve the problem that we are facing now. Okay, so with that, move on to the first step, which is our demo case study we'll be working on together. So this business problem is about visualization and interpretation of data. So imagine now, put on your role-playing hat, imagine you are a data visualizer for this company called Your Superstore. So Your Superstore is a well-known superstore representing all its sales details in a data set. And your management wants to analyze the current performance of their marketing activities. So the story that you are going to tell here is the performance of the marketing activity. Can anyone in the chat tell me what plot will this fit into? What plot? Remember the 5 plot that I shared with you? Which plot will it fit into? Is it overcoming the monster? Is it rags to riches? Is it quest? Is it voyage and return? Or is it rebirth? What kind of plot can this fit into? Wow, we have different answers. Any more answers? A quest, okay. Rags to riches, okay. A quest, okay. Any more answers? Keep the answers coming. Overcoming the monster, rags to riches. The quest, okay, the quest. Wow, a lot of you thinks that it's a quest. Okay, interesting. Okay, Christine says voyage and return. Okay, forgotten, can show the slides again. Okay, so five different plots. Okay, it's either overcoming the monster, it's either the quest, it's rags to riches, voyage and return, or rebirth. Okay, so a lot of you thinks it's rags to riches, right? Or even the quest. Okay, the answer that I'm looking for, right, is actually voyage and return. And only one of you gave this answer of voyage and return. The reason is because, remember, we want to analyze the current performance in order for us to uncover something new. Okay, why is it not rags to riches? Okay, if it's rags to riches, right, it will be a scenario where I'm a sales manager. Remember, now I'm a data visualizer. I'm not a sales manager. Okay, I'm a sales manager for maybe a certain country or a certain region. Okay, and I want to show to my stakeholders that, hey, my team is improving, my team is increasing in their revenue. I would use a rags to riches story plot. If today I want to show you that, hey, I'm introducing a new product to the market, I would use things like a rebirth, a product 2.0 or product 1.0, or even the quest can be applicable in this case, because I want to show you how this product or these services have grown in the different regions or across a different time period. Okay, that would be the use of a rebirth. Okay, but in this scenario, it's about discovery, it's about consultation. It's about understanding what's happening now, and it's more applicable to forward and return kind of plot. Okay, so that's something that we can learn from here. So we're going to understand the performance of the various business units, and on this basis, okay, we're going to make things interpretation easier, analysis to be represented in the form of a graph. Okay, so data understanding, which is second step now, we're going to understand, earlier we look at the data points that we have, right? So we have things like sales value, dates, countries, cities, marketing activities, marketing site activities, and many other data points that we are looking at. Okay, so this is in terms of data understanding. And in terms of data modeling, what we could do is we can come up with a data visualization process and interpret the data using a customized visualization dashboard. And no advanced data modeling needs to be done. There's no machine learning, there's no predictive analysis, deep learning that needs to be done. A very simple visualization process will do the job. And we will learn and we'll understand how it works later on. And lastly, in evaluation and deployment, that's where we will have a clear understanding of where are the revenue generating from, what are the activities that are generating revenue. We only generate necessary graph and charts to fit this dashboard. Have a better understanding of the different performance in different regions. Okay, digitalization of the sales data and uncover actionable insights. So remember, discovery, consultation, better understanding, clear understanding, as well as uncovering actionable insight. So this fits into the story plot of forward and return. Okay. So that's to clear the chat. So well done to Christine. Yes, Christine and yeah, well done to Christine. Yeah, Christine emphasized it, discovery and consultation. Okay, so that's the story plot that we have identified. So now we're going to move on to the hands-on portion. I'll teach you how to make use of Tableau to create this chart and graph. Later on, I'll teach you how to put into a dashboard. And what I need you to do after that is to rearrange your dashboard and to let me know how you actually arrange your dashboard to show that story plot of discovery and consultation. Okay. Okay, so 15 minutes should be enough for you. Okay, hands-on demonstration. We will be creating 4 different charts here: line chart, advanced bar chart, geographical chart, and a pie chart over here. And lastly, a tree map. Okay, so we'll create a dashboard using this 5 chart. We'll save this for a presentation. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to my Tableau now. And I'll show you exactly how it looks like. So I need all of you to actually go to your Tableau as well, Tableau Public. So you have been given instruction on how to download and to install your Tableau Public as well. So let me know in the chat, are you seeing on the same page as me? Okay, so I see a lot of yes. So I'll go a little bit faster in this area. I didn't realize the time. Having a lot more explanation, and I like this crowd because of you are very engaging. At the same time, I learned a lot from you as well. So that's where we went overboard in the discussion. Okay, so now first thing first, we need to connect to a file type. And what we have told you to download is an Excel file. Okay, so or a CSV, we call it a CSV file. So what you can do is to connect to an Excel file. Most of the organizations that you work with will have their file types or data types in Excel file. Even if you're using a CRM system or HRM system or digitized system, right, or software, most of the time you are able to extract data in a CSV format, which is similar to what they call an Excel format. Okay, so just firstly click on Microsoft Excel now, okay, and select the data set that you want to upload. So in this case, your Superstore global data set. Okay, once that is done, click on Open, and this should help you upload the data set that you are working on. Okay, so as you can see, this is the data set that we are working on. We have data points like date, the revenue that's generated or the sales amount. Okay, we have countries, cities, marketing activities, as well as sub activities. Okay, so first, if you scroll down, you can look at the data set. Okay, if not, what we can do is we can start to create our graph or charts. Okay, so just like your Excel sheet, you can create a new worksheet by clicking at the tab at the bottom. So see where my mouse is at the bottom, click on sheet 1. Okay, and double click onto this tab over here to rename this. So the first chart we are going to create is a change over time or revenue or sales over time kind of chart. So you can type this as a sales over time. Okay, just rename this to sales over time. Can we please just get this bit in recording since it's technical, I'm afraid I might miss. Yes, Adriana, don't worry about that. We will provide you with more additional resources for you to revise if you miss out this part. Don't worry. Okay, so for the rest of you who are also wondering about this, okay, so we can double click and change this to sales over time. Okay, so once that is done, click on any empty space, lock in the changes. So as you can see, I have a title over here called sales over time. So next, in sales over time, what do we need? We need the time aspect. The time aspect in this case will be our date. So very simple, go to your date now, double click onto your date, and you will see that the date is being represented here in years. You can click on the expand button by the side to expand it to quarters. You can expand it again to months. All right. So with a very simple drag and drop motion, we can, again, sales over time, we need the sales on the revenue aspect, right? So I have a revenue function over here or revenue variable over here. All I need to do is to go to revenue, left click, drag and drop revenue into rows. Okay, and I have a line chart that is represented here. Okay, so as you can see now, the line chart is split into Q1 and Q2. Okay, I do not want that. I think it's very difficult for me to read. If I'm supposed to represent it in Q1 and Q2, this is the way I will show it. But if I want a continuous graph, I could simply go to the top right hand corner. As you can see where my mouse is, go to the top right hand corner, click on this drop down box here. And from here, you are able to change to many other graph types according to how you want to show or represent your graph. Okay, what I would like to do is to use a single line graph. And I'm going to select this single line graph or continuous line graph, click on it, and you can see, okay, that my graph actually changed. Okay, it is now a single line. It's not spread into quarter, but instead it is January, February, March, April, May, and June. Okay, so other things that you can do to enhance button did not appear on mine. The data set that I have is in revenue, but yours should be in sales amount. So use sales amount instead. Yes. Sales amount, not revenue. Okay, sorry for the confusion. So your data set, the title of this variable should be sales amount. Okay, just use sales, click, drag sales amount into your row, and then follow the same steps. Okay, so aesthetically, again, we need to be consistent in our accuracy and our design, right, of our visualization. So a good way is to go up to this box over here. Instead of standard, you can fit into width, fit into height. But what I like to do is always to click entire view. Okay, now you see no difference, but later on, other graph types, you will see there's a significant difference here. Entire view. Okay, and what is missing here? Anyone can point out what is missing? I give you a clue. Yes, label. Very good. So how do you add label in? So now over here, as you can see, unless I mouse over, I know the exact amount. But how do we read it? Read it faster or read it quicker? We can add label in. You can click on label now and just check on this box called show mark label. Okay, click on this box named show mark label. Click on it and you will see that the label is being done for you. One look, you know exactly how the revenue is moving. And you can even change the font and the size of the text itself. Okay, but we are not going to do that now. Okay, we're just going to click this and click on any of these spaces. And there you go. We have a line chart that is represented over here already. Okay, we have completed this line chart. This can be done in Excel very easily, but it may not be as fast as how I showed it to you earlier. You know, in Excel, you still need to highlight the data sets that you want to highlight and show that this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and then click on line chart, then it has line chart, then you add labels and stuff like that. But what I've done here, in a short span of less than a minute, I can have a line chart that is represented. Okay, so now we are going to move on to the next chart over here. So same thing, go to the bottom left-hand corner, click on new worksheet again to create the second graph that we're going to create. Okay, and this second graph, we're going to name it as sales by marketing activities, for example. Okay, sales by marketing activities. So just after you type sales by marketing activities, click on the NAMB space, okay, lock in the changes there. So in marketing, sales by marketing activities, we have two variables here. We have sales or revenue or sales amount. We have marketing activities. So go over to marketing activities now, double click into marketing activities. Okay, and that shows you that I have two types of marketing activities. I have face-to-face marketing activities and I have online marketing activities. Okay, one is the physical element, one is the element or the online element. So now with that, I can drag and drop revenue. Okay, same steps over here. Drag and drop revenue into column, and I have a bar chart over here that's represented. So in this case, right, because I'm only representing two different fields, okay, two different fields, would a pie chart or a line chart be a better visual graph over here? So should I maintain this as a bar, or I should change it to a pie? Okay, so some of you say pie. Okay, let us change to pie. So now go to the top right hand corner, click on this show me, and select a pie chart over here. Just click on pie chart now, and you realize that, hey, how come the pie chart is so small? Remember, go up to the top over here under standard view, expand it to entire view. And there you go, I have a bigger pie chart shown over here. And I want to focus your attention on the right corner, the right side over here. This is what we call, or these are what we call the legends. The legends that we have that depicts what's happening here. So we, instead of here stating this is face-to-face or this is online, I know from the legend itself, blue color is face-to-face, orange color is online. But the next thing over here, which is sum of revenue, I think this is not necessary in my visualization. So how do you remove this? Simply go to the drop down arrow here, click on it, and just select hide cut, and you can just remove it. Next thing that I want to show you in a pie chart is usually, right, when we add label, so same thing, we need to add label, we show mark label, click on it. And now this mark label over here, it is in the representation or the amount is actually the sum of total revenue or the sum of total sales amount. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to change this to a percentage. I want to let my stakeholder know that most of the percentage of my revenue is generated from face-to-face activity. Okay, management may have this view that, you know, now everything is online. We should focus our marketing budget on online activities because that will generate more revenue. But look at this pie chart over here. Most of the revenue that's generated are from face-to-face, not online. Okay, so we should now still focus our marketing budget onto face-to-face. Okay, so let us just change this sum of total amount or total revenue or total sales amount to a percentage. And how do we do that? Go see where my mouse is, under sales, okay, or under sum of revenue or sum of sales amount. Click on this drop down box, scroll down to quick table calculation. Okay, so Tableau has made it so easy for you to change anything. You don't have to in Excel, you still need to create another table and then change it to the sum of the percentage and then just put it in. Over here, it's very simple. You can just tell Tableau what to do. Select percent of total. Okay, select this option called percent of total. Click on it, and you will see that now the label is showing the percentage rather than the revenue. So 54% of my revenue. So the story that I can tell from here, 54% or 54.45% of the revenue generated from marketing activities accounts for in face-to-face activities, while only 45.5% represents the online. Okay, so this is what we can do. So after this, we have completed our. So what if we want to customize the number of decimal digits? Okay, how do we change decimal? Okay, I'll come to that in a while. Okay, let me just finish all the charts first. Then we look at that. And I'll come back to this. Okay, so next graph that we are going to share, right? So again, if you want to create a new chart over here, click on the new worksheet at the bottom. Double click on it. Okay, change the name now. I want to change this to sales by marketing. Okay, earlier I have marketing activity, right? So marketing sub activities now. Okay, sales by marketing sub activities. change it to this, and same thing, go to marketing start activities now, double click into marketing start activities, and you have all the different sub activities that are associated with your marketing activities. Okay, so from there, same thing, go to revenue or sales amount, drag and drop into your columns, and there you go. I have a bar chart that is represented here. Okay, same thing, you can do this with your Excel very easily, but it may not be as fast as how I do it. Next thing, what we can do is we can change label. Okay, we can show mark label to show the exact amount by the side. And next, what we could do is we can change standard to entire view. So with that, it is a lot simpler, it's a lot bigger, and it's easier for us to see. Okay, can anyone in the chat let me know what else can I do to make this even better? What's that one small step you can do to enhance this bar chart over here? The labels are not fully shown in your okay, your label are not fully shown. For those who have label who are not fully shown, right? One thing that you can click on, if you can click label, you can just click on this, allow label to overlap other marks. Okay, just click on this, your label should show. Okay, so one thing that we can do is to do a very simple sort of the value. So I don't have to guess whether cold call or product demo is performing better. Okay, what I can do is just simply go to the top center portion here where my mouse is. You can sort it according to descending order. And I know cold call is the activity that's generating the most revenue, followed by product demo, followed by trade show and association, then online advertising, etc., etc. Okay, so these are what we can do. Just a very small step, but it helps in your visualization. Okay, so we have finished 3 graphs now. We're going to move on to the 4th one. Okay, so click on the new worksheet again, double click, change this to sales by countries. Okay, now we want to or sales by country or countries. Okay, sales by countries. Now we want to know the performance of the different countries. So sales by country, simply go to the variable called countries. Okay, double click into countries and see what happens. Yes. Okay, so William, you try to change the sub activities to pie chart, right? It's not good, yeah, because there are a lot of variables that you're looking at. Okay, so once you will double click into countries, you will have what we call a geographical map. Okay, this is where visualization tool like this differs from your typical Excel already, because this can easily be done in Tableau and not your Excel. Excel, you still need to install additional add-ons or plugins that then you can actually do what we call a geographical map like this. Okay, so now we have all these various points that represents the various business units that we have across the different regions, from China to Japan to Vietnam to Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Australia. So apologies for my friends from Philippines. I do not have Philippines represented here. I'll make sure the next time around with data set we have Philippines in. Okay. So now we have all these various countries. I want to bring your attention to the bottom right hand corner, and it says one unknown. Why would this one unknown happen? Is because there's this location that Tableau cannot identify. Okay, probably the naming of this location that you have in your data set do not fit into Tableau's description. Okay, so let us click on this one unknown, okay, to see what's happening. And we can click on edit location, and it says Korea unrecognized. So why is that so? And I come to realize that Korea is split into North and South Korea. So if you want, why is it unrecognized? Because we have to emphasize or specify which one, North Korea or South Korea. Let's say it is in South Korea, okay, because we're not doing business in North Korea, right? So South Korea, so you can type in the word South, select South Korea, and once that is done, click on OK, and you realize that South Korea is also represented over here. So next thing, what we want to do, again, this is sales by country, right? What we want to do, go to revenue or sales amount now, double click, okay, double click, and you will see that I have a new variable here, which is our sum of our revenue. And the current depiction or representation over here is by the size of the bubble. But we're going to change this now from the size of the bubble to color code. And how do we change that? Just click on this box over here by the side. As you can see where my mouse is, click on it. We can change it to label, we can change the details, but now what we're going to do is change it to color. Okay, so once with color code, and this is what we call a heat map, where the darker the color is, the more revenue is generating, or the more activities it has. Okay, we can even change the color according to the theme that we have. So if my company is a red theme or green theme or any other color scheme, okay, we can change it accordingly. Or my boss like yellow color, and then I can change it to yellow color. How do I change the color? Go to the top right hand corner here, under sum revenue, click on this drop down box, edit color. And from here, you can change to any color scheme here. Let's say my boss likes green and gold. I can select green and gold here, click on apply and OK. Okay, so what this shows is the darker green it is, the more revenue that country is generating. The lighter the color is, for example, going towards yellow, right? Or gold color, it means the country is generating less revenue. Okay, so again, the legend is shown over here. So this is what we call a geographical map. We can even add a label. Does Tableau able to recognize city level? Okay, very interesting. We'll go to that. Okay, so you can even add show mark label here and allow labels to overlap other marks. Okay, so as you can see, when I allow over here, one more figure here appears. Why is that so? Because if I were to zoom in, as you can see from my screen, if I zoom in, there's a very small country here called Singapore. Okay, so this is represented in this country. If I zoom out, you can't really see Singapore there, but with that mark label, you are able to see, okay, there's a 1.8 million revenue that's generated in Singapore. Okay, so this is how we can do it. So next, okay, after we have completed this graph, we are going to do the last graph over here. Again, click on the new worksheet now. We're going to change this to sales by cities. Okay, so the question from Ari is, does Tableau able to recognize city level geographical positioning? Yes, they are. They are able to, like for example, in Singapore, we can identify different city, or we can go into the city in detail. For example, in Singapore, I'm not very familiar with the geography of Indonesia or Philippines or Malaysia, but in Singapore, we have maybe Changi. You know, heard of Changi Airport, right? Changi, we have Tampines, we have Jurong, we have Woodlands, all these different areas. They can go down to these specific areas in the cities itself. Okay, so that's how detailed they can be. Okay, but now instead of going to the city, into the various detail and district, right, we are going to look at just the city itself. Okay, so we can go into sales. We can type this as sales by city. Okay, same thing. Go to the variable called cities. Double click to it. Okay, so we have all these cities here. And then next thing, drag and drop revenue into columns. We have another bar chart that is represented, but now we are not going to use a bar chart. What we're going to do, we're going to change this to what we call a tree map. Okay, tree map over here, select a tree map, and this is how a tree map looks like. Same thing, change the standard view to entire view. Okay, and subsequently, you can even edit the color again. Remember consistency of the design. Edit this color. So earlier I used green and gold. I'm going to use green and gold again. Click on apply. Okay, so as you can see, Singapore is the city that's generated the most revenue, okay, as compared to Hanoi, which is the least revenue in this case. So how a tree map works, it is color-coded and positioning as well. So if it's on the top left corner, it is the highest revenue or the most activity in this case. And if it's the bottom right corner, it means it's the least. So it goes down this way, okay, and you can look at the colors. You can compare them by the intensity of the colors as well as the positioning of the tree map over here. So this is what we call a tree map. So I have 5 graphs over here: sales over time, sales by marketing activity, sales by marketing side activity, sales by countries, and sales by cities. Now we're going to put these 5 graphs that we created into a dashboard. So how do we create a dashboard? if you click on the next tab over here, it says create a new worksheet. Okay, but if you follow on, it will say create a new dashboard. So that's the tab that we're going to click now. So we click create a new dashboard. This is how a dashboard looks like. We can rename this dashboard to sales dashboard, for example. Okay, sales dashboard. Rename this as sales dashboard. Click on this checkbox over here at the bottom right hand corner. It says show dashboard title. Check on this box here, then you have the dashboard title. You can maybe rename this to as Superstore sales dashboard, for example. Okay, when you do that, then it will change to Superstore sales dashboard, whatever name you want. Can create new column of data set on Tableau, example, assuming that we have hashtag purchase and revenue, and we'll create an additional column. Okay, so Mustafa, very good question. I think a good practice, right? Instead of creating that column within Tableau itself, you go back to your Excel, you create that column itself, and then you re-import this Excel sheet or this data set into Tableau, and then you will have a new column. So this data set that we have asked you to download, right, it is yours now. Okay, you can add additional column, you can add additional rows, you can put more data sets in. It's for you to practice, and I would urge you to practice and to try and error. Okay, try a lot of these different variables, put it in and see what happens, and what are the graphs that you can actually create from Tableau itself. Okay, so short answer to you is yes, but my advice is to go back to the data set, which is the Excel that you downloaded, add the column in or the rows in, and then re-import in and do it again. All right, so now back to dashboard. Okay, so first thing first, what we're going to do is to adjust the size of the dashboard itself. So how do you adjust the size? As you can see, there's a section here called size. Click on it. Okay, and over here we have fixed size. What happens to the graph if we re-import? Should we recreate all graph? Yes, you should recreate all graph. Okay, so the Tableau public version that we are using now, it has its limitations. You will not be able to automatically sync your data set. So sometimes you can actually sync your Google Sheets or your data sets to your database. Okay, whenever new data adds in, your graph will change automatically. Okay, but not in the public version, because public version is open to everyone. I also do not want you to start downloading your company data and then put into Tableau public. Okay, whatever you do in Tableau public is for you to practice on. But if you're using the full version, that's where you're able to link. You don't have to re-import. It's automatically linked to your data server or your database, and then it will automatically visualize. Okay, so back to where we are now. So instead of having a range, now we want to select fixed size. Okay, so I repeat the step again. Go to size over here, click on the drop down box. Under range, select fixed size. Okay, under select fixed size, click on under custom, right? Click and select the size that you want to choose. So most of the time, what we want to do is to put into a PowerPoint, right? Again, PowerPoint. So we select PowerPoint now. Okay, and the size will be according to how big a PowerPoint slide may look like. Okay, you can even adjust the size that you want for the title. You can even add in logo, images or text that you want to add into your dashboard over here. Okay, so but we're not going to do that today. Those are aesthetical stuff that we will not be covering. Okay, so with that, right, I have 5 graphs that are created here. Okay, not in particular order. What I'll do is I'll slowly add all these graphs into the dashboard that we have created here. Okay, how do we add the graph that we created into this dashboard? Very simple. So first thing first, just follow how I do it now. Go to sales over time, which is this graph that we created. Simply drag and drop into your dashboard. And now I have a sales over time graph that's shown over here. Next, depending on how you want to position your dashboard, for example, if I want to depict sales by country as the next graph, I can simply drag and drop sales by country. I can put it at the top, put it at the bottom, put it on the right, put it on the left, put it on the right, depending on how I want to show it. So in this case, I want to put it at the bottom. I just drop it in and I have the map that is shown over here. Then next, I want to show sales by city. Okay, again, left click, drag and you can drop it on the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So in this case, I'm going to drop it in the bottom right corner, just like this. And you can even adjust this. If you want this to be bigger, you can adjust this. If you want this to be slightly, if you want this to be smaller or bigger, just like this. Okay. Next, go to sales by marketing activity. Same thing. I'm going to add this in, but I'm going to add this to the top right hand corner. Drop it in, and I can again adjust this accordingly. Okay, and lastly, sales by marketing sub activities, I'll drop it by the side over here, just like that. Okay, so I can shift this around, make this bigger, expand this so that it is more visually appealing. Okay, so this is how you can create a dashboard. So if I were to click on the present button at the top, this is what your stakeholder is going to see. A dashboard or infographics just like this. Okay, in order to exit this view, you can just click on the escape button. You will go back to the previous view here. Okay, one thing I want you to note is, in order for you to maximize the space that you have, right? Notice the legend is by the side, the right hand side over here. So this legend, marketing activities, is associated with this pie chart. This revenue legend over here is associated with my sales by country. So I want them to be by the side of this chart over here. How can I do that? Go to the legend itself. So for example, marketing activities, click on it, left click on it. Okay, go to the more options drop down box here, click on it. Okay, firstly I want to remove the title so that I can compress the size of it. Next, click on the more options again, scroll down and select floating. Select floating. Click on select floating. That's where you are able to shift this to anywhere you want to shift. For example, I want to shift it over here. I'll leave it there. Next, do the same thing for revenue. Click on more options. So check on title to remove the title, and check on floating so that I can shift this over and put it by the side of my map over here. Okay, so I can adjust it accordingly. Next thing I can do is, you see this blank space over here, I don't need it anymore. I can just click on the remove from dashboard, and see, now I maximize the space that I have in my dashboard. Okay, and I have the legend that's associated with the graph just by the side of it. Okay, I can even shift this around. Okay, I can even shift this around just to reposition this properly. Okay, just to reposition this properly. Can this chart be automatically updated? Yes and no. So the public version that we are using now, Tableau public, right, will not be able to automatically update. But if you're using the full version, that's where you are able to link it to your data source, and it can be automatically updated. So the answer is yes and no. No, because we are using a public version. Yes, if you are using the full version. Okay, so now I'm going to teach you some tips and tricks now. So we have the dashboard that is prepared like that. Okay, I don't care the order of it, because that depends on the story that you're trying to tell, how you want to place the different graph that you have created. Okay, but now we don't talk about that. We only focus on how to create this dashboard. Okay, so tips and tricks now. In order for you to make this, now this is still a very static kind of infographic or dashboard that we can create. Okay, but I'm going to teach you how to make this interactive. How do you ensure that instead of you, if your boss asks you, okay, can you tell me how's Singapore doing? I only want the data from Singapore. Do you have to go back to your Excel sheet and only extract Singapore data and come back to Tableau, then create the graph and charts again? The answer is no. So we are going to make this dashboard interactive. And how do we do that? Simply put across. Firstly, because we want to know, this is a journey of discovery, a journey for us to understand what's happening, right? So I want to understand how well are my different business units doing in terms of the marketing sub activities. So I want to use these sub activities as what we call a filter. Okay, so what we can do is select, okay, where my mouse is, select this chart over here called sales by marketing sub activities. Go to the side under more options, click on the drop down box, and go down to filter. Okay, go down to this option called filter and select marketing sub activity. Okay, go down to filter and select marketing sub-activity. Click on it and you will see that by the side, right hand side again, there's a marketing sub-activity where I can click to filter, remove what I don't want to see or what I want to see. Okay, a very good tip over here is instead of having it displayed like this, we can click again on more options. Okay, first thing first, instead of multiple value as a list, we can select what we call a single value drop down. Okay, select this option called single value drop down. Select it, and now you see it is a very small single value drop down. I can go down, select cold call, go down, select online advertising, select social media marketing, or select all. Okay, and what we're going to do now, again, we're going to click on the more options button and make this floating. I don't want it to be on the right hand corner. I want it to be floating, and I'll put it at the top here. Same thing, I can remove this space over here to maximize my dashboard. Okay, so now notice something when I click and select a different variable over here, or a different sub activity, it only affects this particular graph over here. What can I do to make the changes to any other graph over here as well? I can go to my filter over here, which is this item here. Again, click on more options. Okay, select this option called apply to worksheets. Okay, apply to worksheets, and select this option, selected worksheets. Click on it. I can select any worksheets that I want to apply the changes to, or I can simply select all on dashboard. That means whatever changes I make here, it will also affect other dashboard here. And I click on OK. Once I click on that, as you can see, when I change to all, it will affect not only this chart over here, but all other charts over here. So when I click on, say, cold call, okay, what kind of information I can find from here? Yes, cold call is the highest generating marketing activity, and Singapore is doing the best, followed by Jakarta, Ho Chi Minh City, and from there I can see a trend in this. Even though yes, it is still the highest revenue generating, but I can see there's a dip from May to June. Okay, if I were to change this to say online advertising, okay, yes, there's a dip from January to April, but I'm seeing an increase back. And again, Singapore is doing the best, followed by Tokyo, Kuala Lumpur, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is how you can make this interactive. Okay, and I'm going to teach you another way to make this even more interactive. Okay, so instead of having a filter selection like this, you can even make any of this graph a filter. Okay, how do you do that? Say, I want to know, I want to have a different layer of information or understanding of my data. First, I want to filter by the marketing sub activities. I also want to know how each city is performing. Let us click on the map over here, or the graph over here, this tree map over here called sales by city, and go to the site now and click on this button here called use as filter. Click on it now. Okay, so what will happen is, if I were to present this now, let me show you. Now, not only I'm able to filter by sales sub-activities, for example, webinar, okay, and I know Ho Chi Minh City is doing the best for webinar, followed by Hangzhou and Beijing. Then I want to know how well is Ho Chi Minh City doing. I can go straight to Ho Chi Minh City now, click on it, and you see the graph changes again. It is very specific to Ho Chi Minh City webinar activity. Okay, and you can see that it is an increasing trend over here. Okay, I can click on it again to disable the change. I can change this to all. Let's say I change this to all, and I want to know exactly. Okay, so now I know cold call is the highest generating sub activity. But is that applicable to all cities? Maybe true, maybe not. Let us have a quick guess over here. Let us click on Melbourne. Do you think Melbourne, Melbourne, in terms of sub activities, right? Do you think cold call is the activity that's generated the most revenue in Melbourne, or any other activities? You don't know yet, right? So how would this help you? If I were to click on Melbourne now As you can see, actually association and trade shows generates the most revenue in Melbourne, followed by networking and marketing, followed by product demo. Cold call is nowhere near the top. Okay, is even though cold call generated the most revenue, is not applicable to all countries and all cities. Melbourne, for instance, should focus their budget on shows, networking events, and product demo rather than cold calling. Okay, so this is how we can make use of dashboard like this to help us understand what's happening. Okay, so this is how we can make a very simple line chart, pie chart, a line graph or geographical map. All these are very simple to create. How can we make use of this to put into an interactive dashboard so that this can be a very powerful tool? Okay, Gilbert asked, how many filters can we set? Example, can we compare two cities? Of course, you can compare two cities. So what we can do is we can click on, instead of having this, right, we can select this as a filter. Again, go down to filter, and we can filter this by cities. Okay, so let's say if you want to compare Melbourne and Sydney, so we can select Melbourne and Sydney. Okay, as you can see, it only affects this graph. What we can do, same thing, apply to worksheets. Okay, select all dashboard, click on OK, and this will filter Melbourne and Sydney. So if you want to compare Melbourne and say Jakarta, then you also can compare Melbourne and Jakarta, how it's being compared and how can filter this. Okay, so this is how we can make use of the filter function in Tableau to help us make our dashboard interactive. Okay, so this is a very quick demonstration on how you can make use of Tableau. There are basically a lot more functions, a lot more things that you can do with Tableau, but because of the limited time that we have today, this is where we will stop in terms of the visualization demonstration. What I'll do now, I'll switch back to my slides and I'll continue on with where I left off. So this is where I left off. So in this section, right, okay, this is where we use the Tableau in this. Okay, so some key points will be, there are many other elements to ensure successful storytelling with data. Firstly, we need to identify the story type and approach. What's the plot that we have? Okay, knowing the context of your audience, what your audience want to find out, what your audience are interested in. Building the story wireframe. Okay, you need to build the storyboard first before you build on the visualization. Incorporate design thinking or user interface tools in your story. For example, the dashboard that I showed you earlier, where do you position your filters? Should you use this as a filter? Should you change it to a list? Should you change it to a selection? Really look into your user interface to actually design the story that you have. And lastly, to make use of best practices for effective storytelling. And these best practices are not something that is plucked from the air. These best practices have to be shared by coaches, experienced industry experts who are doing data visualization or data storytelling on a day-to-day basis. They are able to let you know what's the best practices, what are they looking out for in the organization, and how can you incorporate practices. Okay, and with that, okay, we move on to the last portion, which is how we can make use of an analytics roadmap to help us advance our career, to help us advance our opportunities in the area of data analytics. Okay, so in an analytics roadmap, it's about designing how your learning pathway should be. So as a start, you can start off with learning foundations, which is data visualization. And from there, after you master data visualization, you know how to create graph and charts and provide data storytelling to your stakeholders, you are able to move on to a more deeper understanding of data analytics in the area of things like predictive analysis, machine learning that can help you uncover insights from the data that you have, not just visualization itself. And then with that, you can move on to a more, I'll say, specialized role, such as data programmer, data engineer, data developer, or even data scientist. And with that, even have advanced knowledge in things like machine learning. So ML over here is machine learning, and specialize in things like deep learning, or even subjects like AI, etc. So with that, you can create your own roadmap, your own pathway on how you want to learn analytics. And in the Industry 4.0 learning imperatives, we have to be multi-skilled. So no doubt you're from your startup entrepreneur, you are from the finance industry, HR industry, you are from sales and marketing, whatever skill sets you have in the domain expertise, couple that with data skill sets, you'll be able to elevate your opportunities to the next level. Okay, and you need to constantly reskill because of accelerating technology change. At the same time, skill rapidly, learn things quickly. People who make use of the opportunity to learn 1 year ago are experiencing the gains this year. So if you start 2 years later, you may experience the gain 5 years later. But if you start now, okay, very soon you will be able to learn and you will be able to reap all these opportunities from knowing and having all these data skill sets. And lastly, to upskill, meaning to learn things, to learn technological or digital kind of skill sets that can help you elevate your skill, your knowledge and your abilities as well. So in order for you to be a future ready asset, this is actually required in a lot of organizations at this point of time. In your mind, what we call a problem solving mindset, collaborative, confident, and high learnability. You need to learn things quickly. And at the core will be what we call technical competencies such as algorithms, data analytics, data visualization, front end, back end. All these are technical skill sets depending on the job role that you are in. And lastly, business proficiency, being agile, customer centric, having business context understanding. So remember, the first step of the framework is business understanding, right? So it's the same as business context understanding. And lastly, will be to focus on application. So what I have focused throughout the entire webinar session is I've not just theoretically tell you what is visualization, theoretically tell you what is data storytelling, but we put into practice by experiencing and doing some hands-on activity. And that is what we call focusing on application, learning best practices. Okay, and with that, I have what we have covered so far in today's session. So 6-step framework. Okay, we have a very simple live demonstration as well as real-world case study of storytelling and components. And lastly, uncover the skills roadmap. So with that, I have a very important question to the crowd now. And the very important question now is, has your time in this webinar been well spent? Okay, type in the chat. Let me know. Have you learned something new today? Have you have a different perspective of data storytelling and how this has helped you? Okay, so type in the chat. Compliments are always welcome. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hand over this session to my colleague Tayang. You have met Tayang before, and he will take over from this point on to share with you how you can actually advance your knowledge in this area. Okay, so over to you, Tayang.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you for the sharing, and hope every one of you enjoyed this session today. Maybe you can show us some encouragement. So there's a reaction button below, right? Maybe you can give us some love, some heart, or some thumbs up. Okay, thanks, Christine. I saw some of your comments are coming in. So without further delay, I'll just introduce some of the programs that we will be sharing with you. So for today, right, you actually have the 2 options. You can actually take what you have learned today or go to YouTube and piece everything together. So this may be a lonely learning path and no accountability. So one question that I will usually ask is, or you can ask yourself is, how many times have you actually read a book or attended session such as this, but no action was taken afterwards? Or today you actually have another options, which is you can be accountable for your own results and work with like-minded individuals like what you have done today, like all of you coming together and then learning towards the goal. And you can be coached and mentored through the entire process and let the industry expert play a role in your learning journey with you. Okay, so today we actually have 2 brands coming together, which is NUS and Wiley. So how they actually create this program is they actually did a reverse engineering with global players such as IBM, Google, Microsoft, and Zalora on what kind of skill set that they are actually looking at. And they came out with modules based on this industry requirement. And that's where they create these modules to actually help to improve our fastest and easiest way to learn storytelling with data. So let me do a quick introduction of our storytelling with data program by both NUS and Wiley. So this program, right, storytelling with data program, the duration The duration is actually a 6 weeks program, online program like what we're doing now, and plus a live classes, which is one live meet with the expert session from NUS faculty. So you'll be meeting up with one of the professor from NUS, and you can actually learn from him. So throughout the whole learning process, if you do face any questions or any techniques that you wish to learn from him, you can actually ask him directly, like what we are doing now, face to face via Zoom. Okay. So next, who should attend? Yeah. So one of the most commonly asked question, right? What we are looking at is usually working professional who wants to transit from traditional function to high quality function and wish to implement new work processes, or for those who are looking for job opportunities, increasing your market value. So NUS and Wiley is providing a quick entry to storytelling with data processes. Next, number 3, expanding the range of job scope and also looking for a higher chance of promotion. So if you are looking to expand, this is something that you may want to look into. And of course, if you are a business owner, right, imagine you know what other business owner wants. You can actually increase your own company performance and also making decision based on actual science. So you can actually speak better to potential partners and stakeholders on how you can actually bring your company to the next level. So now let me share some success story with you. Okay, so some success story is from Katsumata, right? And he is actually an account manager, so he learned a lot of logical and useful processes on how to examine and digest the data and turn the data into persuasive and attractive story. So he is also able to apply what he have learned to his future tasks. And next, by James Cole, he is an executive. So he mentioned that this is actually an excellent place to upskill yourself with practical analytics knowledge, highly recommended to anyone looking to pick up data analytics. Okay, I think some of your comments are coming in, right? So stay tuned, we do have the Q&A session coming up. Okay, so here's what you would expect from the program. So you'll get to meet one of the professors from NUS faculty, live session like what we are doing here via Zoom. So just questions, how much would a NUS professor session cost, right? So example, if let's say you are meeting Bill Gates today, like how much would you pay to meet Bill Gates to actually learn from him? And how much you will pay to meet him? So you can expect about 3-hour session with NUS professor, right, to be around $500, valuing at $500 in a group settings. Next, online toolkits to facilitate trainings and templates to enhance learning to expert level. So this can actually immediately kickstart your learning journey, and you don't have to go through Google around or go to different YouTube channels, right, to source it on your own. We have all the resources for you, and this is currently worth at $700. Next will be our discussion forum, where your Q&A, if you have any queries with regards to your learning journey, all this will be routed to the industry expert directly and answered by them. So it's like WhatsApp, so you can actually get access to this industry expert and then get your queries answered and proceed from there. And this is valued at $497. So once you come on board, next, on Pointer 4, you have access to this learning management system. This is a individual platform, and you will get your own login and track your own progress as well. So maybe you can give us a show of hand, like if you have learned some techniques and able to use after this training. Maybe you can type in a 1 if you have learned something today and able to use it after this workshop. Show us some encouragement. Yes, Gilbert. Thank you so much. DG, June. Thanks for sharing. Yes, I've shared with you previously, right? Most of our learners actually told us that they can apply what they have learned today and then apply it after this training session. And most importantly, number 5 is you will get a certification by both Wiley and NUS. So this is a knowledge that nobody can actually take away from you. Yeah. So number one thing that in this world nobody can take away from you is always knowledge. And of course, lastly, we are offering some bonuses on top of the 5 items that I've shared earlier. So what we focus here is the idea and logic behind storytelling. So Emmanuel has mentioned earlier, he don't just share some techniques and some theory, but it's the logic and ideas why we use specific chart to tackle some of the business problem. So if today, even if the software you use is outdated, right, your skill set is still transferable. So if, for example, Excel is no longer, or PowerPoint slides is no longer the standard that industry is looking at. Then Tableau might be something you'll be looking for next, or Power BI. So we have included the guide and modules of telling the stories online courses, which will also be integrated in this program itself. And to further enhance it, we also, and to supplement what you are learning, we also have included the working with Tableau course inside this program. So as this is a course from NUS, right, the total value that you are looking at currently is at 2988. So this is a very typical NUS course pricing. But of course, you will not be investing this value today because you have joined us in this exclusive workshop. So next, our storytelling with data program is offering at USD 1,000 only. So let me share with another success story with you. So from Tan Yenxing, right, she is actually from the digital delivery executive. The activities also helped him to understand the concept quicker and also able to communicate effectively with data. So these are some of the techniques that he actually learned in our program. Also, next, another success story, but read more. So the data storytelling program is valuable in that it helps to equip her with the know-how and techniques to create presentation essential for her work. So this is actually useful for different industry because data analytics is a very versatile tool. Storytelling is a versatile tool. You can maybe use it in your future career, such as YouTuber. You might have a chance, right? Okay. So next, now I have a very important question to ask. Who wants a little help from us? Maybe type in the me form for us. Who wants a little help from us, from Wiley, from NUS, from Gen Infinity Academy? Okay, thank you, Gilbert. Only Gilbert, one extra help. The rest? Vegan, Christine, Anam, Clarice, thank you. Thank you. Okay, yes, help is here. So I see a lot of desire from you guys. So we have a partial scholarship application by Wiley. So they are actually offering this one-time partial scholarship program with us. This is the first time that we are actually doing it. So we have done this session a lot of time, and this is the first time they intro it to us. And the value that they give us is very surprising. We are also even surprised by what they are doing currently. Okay, so here's a quick recap. You can meet the expert session. You get the online toolkits to track your progress. You get the discussion forum with the industry expert, and you also have the learning management system platform for yourself to track your progresses along the way. And of course, certification by Wiley and NUS. On top of that, you do have the bonus as well. Bonus 1, telling the stories course, and also bonus 2, working with Tableau course. Okay. And of course, today what we value is 2988, right? So you will not be paying this value. Also today we offer it at 1,000 USD. And this is also not the value you'll be paying. So the partial program will definitely not be what you are seeing here. So the only way to apply, right, is you have to book a discovery call with us. So why are we doing this? Because we are not giving to everyone and we are only looking for individuals which are no matter at whichever stage you are at, we are looking to make a positive change for themselves. So in this discovery call, right, we will go through this partial scholarship program with you, and all the details will be shared during this call. And for this scholarship program, right, we will also want to see your commitment. So because by booking this appointment or booking this application with us, right, we can see your commitment with us. You wanted to learn this with NUS and Wiley. So like previously, there are actually more than 200 applicants of you actually sign up for these exclusive webinars, and we only accept 30% of you guys. So based on what we have shared earlier, right, you have shown us the hunger of knowledge, hunger for more knowledge, and comparing those action takers versus those who are not and just looking around, right, actually you guys are a step ahead of everyone already. So this is actually a first come first served basis, and the application are open until this Friday, Christmas Eve. So this is actually the best gift for yourself for this Christmas. So take action, take advantage of this opportunity, and do book a slot with us fast, as we really have limited slots for this, because this is the first time that Wiley is doing this. So you can actually scan the QR code, or if possible, I can send you the link as well. You can open up from your web browser. Same thing, I think most of you guys have gone through this process with us, so it will be pretty familiar with you guys. So scan for the QR code, you'll be brought to a calendar, choose a time slot, and we will find out if this is for you and share the scholarship details with you, and also the programs, what kind of content that you'll be working on. So some of you may have seen the calendar. If it's overbooked during the call, so do arrange it fast, as we do have limited slot as well. I think there are about 30 or 40 plus of you guys here. So feel free to click on the link or scan the QR code. Do let me know if it's working. Okay, good question, DG. When is the program duration? So the program duration this program will start next year, January. I saw one of you guys actually booked an appointment, so thank you so much. I will speak to you shortly, or our team member will speak to you shortly. So this program will start in January. Not to worry, please speak to us first, because from there we can actually show you what kind of dates are there. Then we can actually plan the schedule with you as well. Okay. I think you guys are actually booking an appointment already. So thanks for booking. The slots are filling up fast, so just click in. Okay, William, I'll come to the Q&A after this. So moving on next, if you still want to know some success story, yes, here's another one. Okay. So by Tina, so she is actually happy to upskill herself and experience the value it has added to her work. And of course, moving on, we have Barry Tan. He has a pleasant time learning this program, and also the trainer was very knowledgeable and eager to share the real world application, like what Emmanuel has shared today. He shared with you the real world application and how you can actually better use it to your work and enhance your work processes. And of course, he would definitely recommend this course to anyone who have an interest to kickstart their analytics journey. Okay, so now we have actually come to the Q&A session. I'll try to answer as many as possible along with me. We have Emmanuel as well. So those who are booking the call, please scan the QR code. Okay, so now we'll kickstart the Q&A session. I will start off with, okay, so DG, I have mentioned earlier, right? This program will start in January. So only for January intake, we are offering this partial scholarship program. And this is Christmas, seasons of giving. So this is what Wiley is doing. Moving on will be William, right? Is this course only can be accessed within 6 months? Okay, so William, to answer these questions, right, you'll be able to access the learning management system for up to 4 months, even after you complete the 6 weeks program. So after that, the discussion forum and everything will still be there. So within the 4 months, if you have any queries, you can still type in the discussion forum and speak to our industry expert directly. They are actually from both NUS and Wiley faculty. Yeah. And if you do face any other queries, you can actually drop us a text, or you drop me a text. You have my number, right? Or drop us an email. Okay. Hope I answer your question, William. DG. So DG, you're asking, can we also get the curriculum? Okay, DG. So what we are doing here is we want to look for driven individuals who actually want to pick up this program and learn more. So by scanning the QR code, booking a discovery call with us, we will actually go through the course content, course curriculum review. Yeah, the session will be a little bit longer because this is more towards the application of partial scholarship.
Sorry, okay. Something I want to share is, so I believe all of you have learned something new today during this very short 2.5 hour session. So imagine having that times 6 weeks. Yeah, that's the amount of information and amount of knowledge that you will learn. Especially, I think something that's very, very valuable is the certification from NUS. And again, it is a recognized, internationally recognized certification, and we all know NUS as a industry or I would say well-known institution in the area of education. And now with Wiley, which is an international brand, definitely this is first of its kind certification, and it's something that is very, very valuable for your portfolio as well. And why we are providing this scholarship is because, as mentioned earlier, this is the first time we are offering for international learners. We have done this for our local learners as well, and they have benefited a lot of different batches have benefited from it. So we want to extend this to our international learners who are also committed. And what we have done is we have provided scholarship, and this is something that you are able to understand and to find out more through the book, the call that you will book with Taya. Yeah, so you want to know how much scholarship will be provided, okay, please book the call. Okay, so back to you, Taya.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Okay, I've just looked through my calendar. So Friday, we are left with 3 slots. So if you want, you can either book for tomorrow or Thursday session. So before Christmas Eve, yeah, you can actually book the call, book the discovery call with us. So just click in the link or scan the QR code. Okay. So back to the questions. I'll continue with Ari, right? Is there any list of courses and each of its content? Yes, Ari, we do have the list of course and content. And like we mentioned earlier, you need to actually book a discovery call with us. Then from there, we'll share all of the details with you. Yes, because this is actually a partial scholarship by Wiley. So we want to have a more individual, personalized approach with you guys. Yes, and if